Hello all viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel Essence of Delight. This channel is created with lot of enthusiasm for the lovers of English language and literature. I hope you enjoy. Give likes as many times as you wish and don't forget to press the subscribe button below. And also please click the bell icon beside that so that you can get notification whenever a new video is uploaded. Please share the video to everyone, as many people as you can, and be supportive. Thank you. So let's get started with our model today, and here it is. Welcome to our new module. Today, especially student of class 12, pay attention. We are going to read the poem on Killing a Tree by W.B.C.H.SE, and step by step we are going to analyze and try to understand what is there in the poem. So let's begin reading the poem. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. Now, in this first stanza, the poet traces how a life begins and moves on. As for the tree has sprouted from a seed and then from a sapling has grown to a big tree. And Mother Earth has fed it, provided it with nourishment and all the things needed to nurture a life. At the very outset of the poem, the poet makes a declaration. It takes much time to kill a tree. And then, in a sarcastic manner, he also adds, not a simple jab of the knife will do it. Well, there is an indication that when humans are killed, a simple jab of the knife or a stroke of any weapon can do the job. But for a tree, so enormous is its size and so deep is its life source that only by jabbing a knife won't just take the life of a tree. And after that, as we have already discussed, that poet traces the journey of the life of the tree. Now, a few things you must look here. See the phrases: consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. Now, we are familiar with sentences that are orthodox in nature. That is, there is a subject, there is a predicate, and poets, especially for their own purpose, often alter them, that we call figure of speech, and in that manner that poetic essence provides some newness to the language. Here, poet W.B.C.H.SE exercised one such practice. we may call this language syncopatic language. What is it? It is a term derived from the music realm. Expressions follow one after another without any precise structure of sentences as we expect. This syncopatic expression that I am speaking of, you can find in the text in slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous height sprouting leaves. So, terse expressions follows one after another and no need to divide the sentences again and again. That we call syncopatic expressions. Now another thing, there is a phrase leprous height. Leprous height, we know leprosy is the name of a disease which once was very incurable and looked down upon by people, but today we have overcome it. Today leprosy, we know many things about that. Even in your schools you may have some leprosy awareness programs in last year, not of course in this year. Now leprous height, leprous is an attribute that is added to the hide, that is the skin of the tree. About Jeff Battle, many things we will learn, because his poetic art is one of experimentation in the modern terms. So, clinical expression. Those who have followed the introduction of this poem, the general introduction part in the earlier videos, they know that Jeff Battle, the poet, is a medical practitioner. So, his knowledge and his perception of medical terms often brings some clinical expressions that is related to medical work. One such is leprous. Probably he wants to mean here that the skin is worn out and it is going to decay, that is fall. And sprouting leaves, you know, leaves sprouting out from the seed. Now let's move on. After giving a good description of how life happens, it takes a sharp turn how it is endangered. So, continues the poet, hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Well, this so is a continuation of that first line, that a simple jab won't do. So, if a simple jab cannot do, what should be followed? Hack and chop. Hack. Crush it with axe. Chop. Cut it down. But this alone won't do. Oh, even this process is not enough. Not so much pain will do it. In this process of chopping and hacking the tree, it takes a time, and in this time, if you witness a tree is being cut, then you can understand that if we would get that wound and hit and the blow for that time being, how painful it would have been. And the poet says, yes, it is also painful for the tree in the same way. But providing that much pain won't suffice. The bleeding bark will heal. Again, you see a clinical expression, the bleeding bark. When we cut our skin, we get our skin cut, blood flows. And here also, not true blood as we living beings have in our body, but fluids can be seen flowing out of the cut portion of the tree. But more important than that, whether the true blood or the fluid is not the matter. It is bleeding, that is wounded and having enough pain. But the poet suggests it's not all. And from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. You cut the tree over the ground, cut it completely, but it won't do. Again, green twigs will come out of that injured and wounded part. Miniature boughs, very small twigs, which, if unchecked, will expand again to former size. And then the process recourse once again. Again the life course takes its own pace and it starts growing once again. So, a note of sarcasm, is evident in the poet's tone. He actually mocks us that we can kill a human being in no time. But for a tree, it takes lot of time, and even if we don't know how to kill it, if we don't be deliberate and devoted in our passion, we won't be able to be successful even after doing a lot of things. Well, is the poet encouraging us? Not at all. He is actually depicting what it is. You must understand, truth itself is sometimes wonderful and sometimes very scary. I told in the introduction part that human psyche, how our brain works. Trust me, the spiritual leaders and also the psychoanalytics of the world believes that we are very much ignorant, and thereby what we do, if we see it objectively, as the poet tries here to show it objectively, it becomes clear. Now, as the tree does not end the prospect of growing once again, the poet continues, a firm negation. No, the root is to be pulled out. And now he comes to the most awakening and most terrifying part of the process. The root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. We know that root is the source of life of a tree, which is delved deep into the earth. We cannot see it over the earth, except the mangrove trees, where the roots come out of the earth. So the poet indicates that until and unless you cut the connection between the life and the earth, it's almost not possible to get the job done. It is to be roped, tied and pulled out. The poet is speaking about the big root after digging out the soil around it. The root is to be roped, tied with big knots, tied and pulled out, snapped out. This word snapping is actually disconnecting one thing from the other. Here the life is being disconnected from the source of energy that keeps the life thriving. or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave. And then another option is there, dig it out from the ground and the strength of the tree exposed. And when you bring out that big root out of that earth's cave where it was hidden, we find, what do we find? The strength of the tree. Remember, in your childhood days, you used to listen folk tales from your elder ones. Pran Bhomra, that is the term. And now it is exposed. It comes before everyone. The source, white and wet. So beautiful it is. Tender, devoid of any color, and wet, still have that source of energy, source of life that can thrive. The most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth. And what earth has nurtured is the root, the most sensitive part of the tree. And what grew over the earth is with the help of the air and all nourishing elements. So the favorite of earth, the earth's own, is the root, and now it is taken out. Then the matter, well, the ceremony is not over yet. Remember the word I used, ceremony? It is like a process, a ritual. Then the matter of scorching and choking, and then the process comes that it is scorched and choked in the bright sunlight, in sun and air. When it is exposed to air, no more source of water, no more source of life, and in the bright sunlight it dries out. Browning, hardening, it becomes hard, the color changes, and as it dries it becomes brown. Twisting, withering. Twisting as the wetness or the source of fluid evaporates in the sunlight. The vacuum space gets sinked and the root becomes twisted. Withering, it dries out. The flesh over it actually starts peeling off. And then it is done. Well, after listening for this long time, reading out the poem and discussing all the things, aspects along with it, you can understand the length of the process that the poet speaks of. And then it is done. Now what happened, as information can be traced, that Jeev Patel said that while he was practicing in a medical hospital, there was a big tree in that compound and he was very fond of it. And one day when he reached that compound, he found that the tree was being cut. He sat there, felt sorry for it, but could not do anything. He noticed and observed everything bit by bit and recorded it as his true copy. Now this poem, yes, of course, it is a message to all of us that how we are very hostile towards nature, we are very hostile towards our planet Earth, hostile towards the plants, vegetation, hostile towards all other animals, and this hostility may be very strikingly found only in human beings. Well, that is a different aspect. I won't take you to that deeper understanding. You can, of course, if you get a chance, we will do it sometimes later. Now, this was the historical event that provoked the composer to compose this poem. So, once again, syncopatic expressions, you can find terse expressions following one after another. A clinical imageries, time and again, coming back, leprous, bleeding, snapped out. Snapping out is a term, when a child, human child is born out of the womb of its mother, the cord that connects the mother and the child, it is snapped. Because unless it is snapped, the child cannot be separated from her mother. So there is also an indication of these clinical images and sarcasm all along. When you read the poem at the first appearance, you might find that the poet is actually describing a ceremonial process, but it is not. The poet is actually giving us the true picture we need to find, we need to witness, and we need to know. So, on killing a tree, the killing part is such frightening, and of course it actually depicts what we human beings are capable of. And one message that the poet gives out, that be aware and change yourself, or unless you can understand what you are doing. Well, that's it for today's module. Hope students would be benefited from this, and people who are watching would like this. And if you have liked, don't forget to give a like, and also please subscribe to get updated with the upcoming videos. Please share this video to as many people as you can. Be supportive, and of course, if you need something or have any suggestion, comment on the comment box. Thanks for all, and till we meet, stay fit, stay fine. Thank you.